Oh, well, hello everybody. Today we have August 2nd, 2009, Red Rocks for channel member Merdizzle, and I think this is mostly a second set show. Specifically, a sit-in from Bill Kreutzmann of the Grateful Dead. Now, the first set, mostly forgettable. Although it did have a Roses Are Free Wilson. That's a good way to start the show. There in the middle, you had a Back on the Train Reba combo, but mostly a forgettable first set. A very much a 2009 first set. Quite a few songs played, nothing really getting outside, really leaving the page of the song. And, just a very ho-hum, kind of forgettable set. Took them a little while to get going once they had this comeback in 2009. But however, in the second set, it did not take them very long to get going at all. And what's weird is I kind of remember this was a big deal back when it happened in 2009. And I think overall, people just were not they were kind of down on the show from what I remember. And it must just be the first set, I suppose. And then maybe the selection of some of the songs. Perhaps people were hopeful they would get a Grateful Dead song, but however, you start the second set with just the band, with Boogie On Reggae Woman and You Enjoy Myself. And the Boogie On Reggae Woman felt very much like a 2003 Boogie On Reggae Woman. A lot of mic, a lot of jamming. Never quite went way outside of Boogie On, but they tinkered around a little bit, delivering a really good opening set jam there. Into a very minimal You Enjoy Myself. There's some hand signals at the beginning of You Enjoy Myself. There's video of this here on YouTube. It almost looked like perhaps they were maybe from Mike over to Trey over to Paige. It was just like You Enjoy Myself. It seemed like that seemed to be the hand signals going on stage. And then during the vocal jam is when they moved Fishman's kit a little bit, brought out another drum kit. Then they open that up with Undermind, and then they get through Undermind, which is a very drummy song, a good choice there. And then they get to just Fishman and Bill. And then for a moment there, it sounded kind of Grateful Dead-y a little bit, you know? And I'm sure Fishman, and I don't know if that was just all Bill in his style, or, and I know Fishman knows his way around some Grateful Dead songs, obviously, so he could have been purposely adding to that. But for just a brief moment there, it sounded very much like a Grateful Dead drum segment of a show. Not long, just a little bit. I don't know if it was, I don't know, and a very small kit there for Bill, although sounded good on it. And then we get into Seven Below, and at that point, he definitely added to it. Having two drummers is not something that I would like for them to have all of the time. But by adding to it, it was more like it kind of gave a little extra energy, and the rest of the band was trying to show off a little bit. Not necessarily Fishman, though. Fishman still and they were very much just kind of looking at each other the whole time. I'm sure it was a little weird for Fishman. Hasn't had a partner up there on drums very often. They probably had a little bit of time to rehearse. Obviously, Bill's a pro. He could sit down and play about anything, I'm sure. So the Seven Below jam really starts to take off, and then you almost kind of forget that we got the extra drummer. We got a member of the Grateful Dead on stage there, and whether if it was Paige or Trey, and then we get into the 2001. Again, now this one felt like it delivered a very unique version of 2001. Not necessarily because, Bill went off and made it a crazy good song or anything, but just had a slightly different feel to it. Not that, and again, nothing in this show went too deep out there. And then an excellent Waves. I guess the only problem with the Waves jam, though, is it felt at times a little bit like the Seven Below jam, or maybe even the KDFalls jam. Like some of the jamming did feel a little bit similar throughout the night, which again was a 2009 thing. It was going to take them a little while to get their groove back. And then they go into character zero, and of course Trey is just like, hey, I got a member of the Dead up here. I am absolutely going to show this guy what I got. And the character zero was pretty much all for Trey. And he completely slayed it, of course. Then Bella, we get a request filled for Bella. Trey said she had been requesting Bittersweet Motel all summer. He finally fills that request, and then bouncing around the room and Slave to the Traffic Light to end the show. Fishman did mention that he felt very lonely up there once they removed Bill. So overall, if it wasn't for the Kreutzmann segment, I would say this show probably would have been headed to the two thumbs down area. I don't know why. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just kind of remember people being down on it. And I suspect maybe I'm just making this up, but it's like maybe people wanted a Grateful Dead song. I even felt like, well, the Seven Below really did take off, but It didn't really feel like maybe the right call there. Same thing with Waves, although Waves really did deliver. And then Character Zero, you got Bill Kreutzmann on stage, and you're gonna play Character Zero. All right, well, it delivered, just like the other ones did. I would say the Undermind drums, obviously, the best part, and then the 2001 was pretty good too. That was a good one, and so I think he added a little life to them. You know, of course they want to show off, they want to flex a little bit. So the fact that the show wasn't super well received is a little bit crazy. I guess it was that first set, you know. That was a very forgettable, average first set, I suppose. Maybe even below average, really. All right, but then the second set for 2009, that had to be one of the better sets of '09, I would think. And then things did start to heat up in August there a little bit. The encore, probably could have, you know, Bittersweet or Bouncin, one or the other. Bittersweet was for Bella, and then I guess Bouncin must have been for, you know, his unnamed son up in the northeastern part of Michigan. Little Stan. All right, guys, boom. We are out of here. Merdizzle, thank you. Apologize for no whiteboard. And once again, though, it just felt like there wasn't going to be a ton of whiteboarding with that first set. Thought maybe I would save a tree and a Sharpie. All right, guys, boom. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for taking us back to 2009 for another sit-in this month. Whoa!